Hi everyone, welcome to another
Hi.
episode of Siffany's Walk with Grace. I'm Siffany, this is my mom, and
Mhm.
we wanted to touch on a sensitive and popular subject, disabilities. What does that entail for the family members? What does that entail for you? And how can you come together to create a loving and safe and peaceful and environment where everyone is happy and content and no one feels um, bad about it, I guess. I don't know how to say that better, but
Yeah.
I personally have, can't remember if it's two or three. They found like two or three different autoimmune issues with me. And then I've got scoliosis, degenerative disc disease, bone spurs, as well as bulging discs all in my lumbar spine area. That's the lower back. About this much of it is pretty much screwed. Um,
Mhm.
and then I have pseudotumor cerebri, which is an influx of spinal fluid. And it's basically the same thing as meningitis, but it's not contagious. That's the only difference. So they have to do spinal taps to drain it, which of course causes a lot of pain in the lumbar as well.
Yeah.
And then I also have Meniere's disease, which is a not so fun little one. I spent like half a year not able to really leave my room. And so thank God for my family and my loved ones because I don't know what I would have done. I have kids. Like, I woke up. Okay, don't scream Jumanji on New Year's. Like, no joke, guys. Please laugh. Please laugh because I don't want pity. But don't scream Jumanji on New Year, okay? I screamed Jumanji on New Year and I woke up with this disease. No joke. Like, I woke up and was like, I can't walk or move or do anything without throwing up. What is going on?
What just
So,
happened?
yeah, don't scream Jumanji on New Year's, dude. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Don't. Mm-mm. So anyway, that one makes you really dizzy. It gives you vertigo. It gives you equilibrium issues, and there is a ring that will never leave. And let me tell you, that thing drives me absolutely batshit crazy. Pardon my French. But there's times where it legitimately keeps me up at night because it's such a bother. That I can't sleep through this ring. So I've lost about half my hearing in that ear. Um, which is a struggle. They've done injections into my eardrums with steroids to prevent further loss, and it gave me back a tiny bit, thank God, because I was at less than half before those. But I mean, all the treatments and everything that I go through, they're excruciating. I also have nerve damage from a spinal tap gone wrong. So my whole left leg felt like it was in the incinerator with me attached to it, and it just like wouldn't burn off. It was rough. And so, a lot of people in my family also have disabilities, and one of the things that I pride myself on is that I don't really take medication. Like I'm prescribed medication for the days where it's detrimental, but I don't really take it otherwise. And part of that is that it makes me not me, and I'm not okay with that. I don't want my kids to grow up knowing somebody that's not actually who I am, and it makes me pissy. And I cannot stand narcotics because I already have chronic migraines from the spinal fluid stuff. Narcotics actually give you it can give you aftermath headaches. They call them aftermath headaches. And someone who has a migraine already, that can be awful. And so I've had to learn all these different ways to keep my body active without hurting it. And one of the biggest and hardest things for me to learn was when to stop and to be okay asking for help. I have a very big problem with those two things. And once I learned those, that made a very big difference. Now I get yelled at if I go to the store and grab a 24 pack of soda or even a 12 pack. I'm not supposed to lift more than a milk jug um, for my physical
Yeah.
health's sake. And so I don't know how that feels from her standpoint, but from my standpoint, it was a very helpless feeling. I mean, I couldn't even get up from my bed without throwing up. Like, I would roll over and puke. It was relentless. I couldn't keep anything down. Everything spun. Like, I watched an entire, like, three series with my eyes closed for 6 months. Like, it was bad. And that feeling of helplessness was very intense, and there was a fear there revolving around like, am I gonna make it through this? Can you still love me like this? Like, you're basically having to be my servant because I can't move. Like, how awful for you to have to go through that. And these are all the things that I'm feeling. And so I'm going to give Grace a chance to share what it feels like from her side. And then we're going to kind of share with you how we came together to make a place to where I was able to get myself to where I was mobile again and at least able to do some stuff. I mean, I still can't do very much. Like right now, I'm actually kind of dizzy, but it's manageable. So it never truly fades. But it's manageable. As long as I'm not doing too much and I'm careful, I can still be a part of my family now. And I truly believe that that would not have turned out that way had I been left alone to just figure it out by myself. Like, I might have just died because I couldn't get to the fridge. Let's be real.
Yeah, disabilities are, it's hard. It's hard to watch, a family member having a difficult time. And I know for me, Siffany's had issues most of her life.
I almost died a few times as a baby, scared the crap out of her.
Yeah. And then I've had my own issues as well. So I think a big difficult piece is how do you manage both. When I finally kind of walked away from my practice, I felt like I was broken emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically. Physically, I was in a really bad way. And so, yeah, how do you manage that? We were, by then, Holly was an adult and kind of on her own, but so I'm trying to kind of help her through it and trying to figure it out myself. And the biggest thing is learning to stop when you need to stop.
It truly is.
It is.
It truly is.
Yeah.
I used to think that I had to power through it because this is what I had to do. And then I'd be down for like weeks. Yeah. Now I can go spend like a half a day to a day doing some kind of job or something, and I'm only down for like 4 or 5 days. Which, granted, still super blows, but I mean, it is what it is. That's part of why I try to find ways to work out of home and to deliver from home. Yeah. Was because I do have to work with it. And
yeah, and I mean, to me this is a major issue for us. I'm just going to say Americans because this is what I know, but we work an awful lot, don't we? I mean, 40-hour weeks, we think it's not a big deal. I mean, many of us are doing 50, 60-hour weeks. But
and there's places where life is more affordable and you can save money, but in a place like where we are, we can't even save enough to get out, let alone pay our freaking mortgage half the time. Like, I'm not saying like everybody, but like most people here, if you don't have a roommate or a spouse, you better be working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
That's just where our economy is now.
And it's expected. I think of, America and Americans, we just kind of have that, we're kind of workaholics. I think we could learn from other countries that maybe, have 30-hour weeks or, 4 days and then 3 days off. I was talking last time about my friend who's just recently retired, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much more fun I'm having, when she was working full-time and raising kids there. I mean, she was we string ourselves out, and then we don't know where to stop. We don't know how to stop. It's almost like a snowball going downhill. And so often what happens is if we don't learn to settle ourselves and take that break and have that quiet, we're going to get sick. Or we're going to get hurt. Something outside of us is going to make us stop.
I all the way told my baby sister, because she stays the night every so often. We have girl time, family time, game nights, whatever. Usually about once a week. And the last time she was here, stayed the night, Thanksgiving night. And on the following day, we were talking about what to do and everything. And it got later in the evening, and she was like, it'd be cool to do this or this, or no, maybe that was the morning when we were still talking about it. And I was like, hold on. I was like, you got to keep in mind, I need some time to rest. I was like, I've been going, and I don't want to end up sick. And she was like, oh, yeah, dude, no, we're good. Done. Like, done. I don't want you sick either, because then I can't come stay the night. Like, and so part of it, I think, is that you feel, back to obligation, you feel obligated to do these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You feel, back to fear, scared to say no, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate telling my baby sister no. Like, I was their babysitter. I'm the oldest, you know? So growing up, they were my first babies. Like, they weren't my babies, but they were my babies. You don't touch my babies or I'll fight you, you know? Like, I kind of took the big brother standpoint instead. So it is what it is. But, you know, I hate saying no when it's something so precious like that, you know? And so having to push past the fear and saying, look, I'm sorry, but I really just can't right now. You'd be surprised how understanding people actually can be about that. Maybe not so much in the job economy, because, like, it is what it is, and unfortunately that's like a completely different situation. But when it comes to your loved ones, you know, if you're having a rough time and you're having a flare up, or it's just one of those days that you're like, dear Jesus, I'm not getting out of bed, don't be afraid to be yourself. That is you. Unfortunately, I hate the fact that I wish I'd constantly like, did we find somewhere for replacement parts yet, babe? Because this sucks. But at the end of the day, it's me. And it's part of what makes me special. Part of what makes me special is the fact that I can speak on this, and the fact that I can visually show people the progress that I've made. 7 years ago, when I first went to my spinal appointment after the x-ray, the lady looked at me, and actually, no, this might have been like 10 years ago. She looked at me and she's like, where's your walker? I was like, excuse me? She's like, where's your walker? I was like, I don't have one. She's like, why not? I was like, what do you mean? Like, I try to make it work. Like, I don't. She's like, well, you have the back of a 70-year-old woman. I was like, excuse me, what? She's like, yeah, you got like next to nothing left down here. And she showed me the x-ray. She's like, you see anything? And there's just a bunch of black spots. And my first reaction was, oh my God, is that cancer? She was like, no, you just don't have any calcium left, and it's all chipping away now. And so I've watched my spine just, like, my height has shrunk. It's kind of funny because I always said I wanted to be shorter, and I'm finally getting my wish some way. So, but it's still me. Like, it's a part of what makes me who I am, and it's a part of what people, I think, look up to, that I can push through it and try to find a way to still live. And I try to make it funny too. Like, I'll have bad pain days and feel like I need to vent, and then I'll find a funny way to say it, like the replacement part thing. Like, I could just be like, this sucks, but instead I'm like, hey, did we find replacement parts? Have they come in yet? And it makes it less stressful, and I don't really like to get pity either. So it also decreases the amount of pity that I get if I can make them laugh. Like, they don't feel as bad if they see you able to laugh and smile, because they're like, okay, well, she's at least okay still. Like, she might be hurting, but she's at least okay. Like, I don't need to be worried about her doing something stupid because she just feels so bad. And I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that that's important for the loved ones around you.
Yeah, I think self-care is, yeah, the pity. Like, yes, let's think about that for a minute. We don't want pity, but we also need help sometimes. Regardless, disability, not disability. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? You know, we all have things on our plate.
Think about how many times you've had to call someone and say, please take the kids, I gotta go to the hospital or whatever,
yeah.
right? Like,
yeah. But
I need my car fixed. I need a tow.
Yeah. I would want to focus or see if you can focus on the nicest thing you can do for others is to take care of yourself. Okay? But many of us feel that that's selfish. And we're trying very hard to be selfless. And so we're trying really hard to, give and take care of others at the expense of ourselves.
But all that does is shorten our lifespan if you think about it.
Not
It makes
only-
you ill, it makes you
Yes, so it's
frazzled, then you're overwhelmed, and then you can't
Right.
help them because then you're like, I'm helpless at this point. I can't even think. Like,
yeah. So that kind of selfishness and self-care is, in my mind, actually isn't selfless. The most selfless thing you can do is take care of yourself.
mm-hmm.
Because if you take care of yourself, then I don't have to worry about you. I don't have to watch you disintegrate before my very eyes.
And let me tell you, she used to freak the hell out on me. She'd be like,
Oh.
"You're doing what with your back?" Now she doesn't have those panic attacks anymore. True story.
Because she's getting better at,
Knowing my boundaries, even when
knowing
I
her
don't like
boundaries
them.
and taking care of herself.
Yeah.
Yep.
Certain things I still deem worth the sacrifice. Like if someone was like, "Hey, whitewater rafting ride," I'd be like, "Dude, yes." I wouldn't move for the next week, but I would so be down. But like, if I need to move furniture now, I just like call in a friend or, "Hey, can you help me move this real quick and make you dinner or something?" So
Yeah.
different ways, and that too, like you can still give back to the people that help you. I love to cook for people. I feed people all the time. That's something that is my favorite thing to do. Like I love to cook for my family, and so sometimes they'll come and they'll help me out with a favor, and then I'll be like, "Okay, well, here's dinner," and they're like, "Oh hell yeah, I was starving, I haven't eaten all day," and I'm like, "Why didn't you say something?" But it helps them too, and it makes them feel better about helping you as well when you're able to, even if it's something small, just as a gratification.
Yeah. Yep, it's all reciprocal. Take care of yourself. Ask for help. Care where you can. Give back where you can. And be okay with all of it.
The biggest thing is acceptance. Until you accept it, you're going to be miserable.
Yeah. Yep.
And don't be afraid to look into natural resources either.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to talk a lot
Natural
about
remedies.
that. Yeah. I mean, 7 years ago when I crashed and burned, I mean, I've been working myself back into life from there. And I've had, wonderful, my husband's been so good to me and just kind of letting me take the time I need. And there's, healing can be had. And that's going to be a lot of, what we talk about is, how do you take your brokenness with you and still live? I think that's what Siffany's talking about when she's saying, well, I can't move a couch, but I can make a meal. So that's how you kind of give and take.
I have friends that come and help with my landscaping. I
do. I come help garden.
Yeah, we make cute gardens.
So, yeah.
Just know your community, know your resources, know your people, and don't be afraid to ask for help. But just try to bring it from a sense that doesn't necessarily attract the pity side. Because if they're constantly there feeling guilty and feeling bad for you, then they're going to start associating negative feelings because it is negative. I mean, it's sad, it's unfortunate, and I'm not denying that. But if you can make them have a joyful experience while they're lending you aid, they're going to be more likely to come back and help you when you need it again. And they're not going to feel resilient towards it. And you don't have to feel bad either. Because when they leave feeling bad, then you feel bad.
Yeah. There's so much that goes into, I mean, not just disability, but just, in general, around, aches and pains and disabilities and illness and, whether it's mental, whether it's physical, all of that. I think I'd like to talk more about it and kind of get in depth, but it is a big reason why we're doing what we're doing, because I think we both have made advances in our own healing, how we've gotten there, how we're doing and how we're moving forward, that I really do feel like it's important to, or there's something there if we share, that others might be able to use. my husband works. He works full time. He has a very physical job, and he's got a bum knee and a bum ankle that we have to kind of manage and care for so that he can keep going.
And my other half is a dingus and screwed up a front flip on the trampoline. Laugh here.
Yeah.
And so now he's a driver, CDL driver, and so you're constantly do, right?
Yeah.
Driving foot, of course, go figure.
Yeah.
So he had to take time off work, and then now it still messes with him, and so like by the time the weekend hits, there's not much energy left in the ankle to be able to do anything, and
Right.
it's my job to respect that. And I'm like, I'm the broken one and I need help, but you're also broken now, and
Yeah.
who you gonna call? My brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you find ways to work with it. It used to be he would help me do that stuff. Well, now he also has an injury that I need to make sure that I honor as he honored me.
Yeah. So some of it's about honoring, and being patient, and
With
giving
yourself and with
and
the other
taking.
person.
Yes. So how can we do that together? And that's not even talking about really the workforce. I mean,
Yeah, that's just like a generalization.
Yeah, but this is certainly how we're kind of working with it, just in our own lives. Our grandson's on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum. That is its own kind of disability, that we have to work with, and it's a big job.
And we'll probably speak on that too, because I know there's a lot of parents that have actually reached out to me personally asking for assistance because their kids were experiencing similar behaviors, and they were like, how did you turn it around? And so we might end up doing an episode on that later too. But yeah, we're a house full of broken people, and we all just help each other. It is what it is.
It takes, I'm convinced it takes a village. Yep.
It's another famous phrase of Grace. It takes the village, and she's not wrong.
No. Yep. I know I had well, that's actually, no, if I were to be honest, open and willing, I didn't have much support. I probably didn't have any support. And so I had to figure a lot of this stuff out on my own because 2 of my daughters are on the spectrum, and then we have mental health issues too, so it was a lot, and my family had a really hard time accepting that and embracing it, so it was an uphill battle for me, to try to get their needs met, and I didn't have any time to sit back and let myself even think about healing or think about myself at all.
She was a badass. She worked full-time, did full-time college, and raised 3 kids. Like, I don't know.
With mental health issues and the spectrum and my own issues. Yeah, I don't know how I
am going to take this opportunity to point something out. I believe that everything happens for a reason, even the really bad stuff. And so in this situation, her going through that and not having somebody to have her back enabled her to have our back tenfold because she understood and wanted to make sure that someone had it. And as a result, it gave us the ability to grow significantly faster than it would have taken us had we done it solely by ourselves. And so I believe that happened to her so that she could aid us. I feel like I'm all broken and stuff so that I can aid others and show other people how there's other methods and other ways.
Yeah.
And so keep that in mind too. Like, I know there's days where I sit there and I'm like, oh God, why me? And I do feel pathetic and I do feel pitiful for myself. And I have a lot of self-pity on those days. But then I fix my mindset and I remind myself, look, people still love me. I still have people in my corner. That means a lot. That means something. That means that I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
And so just keep those things in mind. And do you want us to touch on anything further or anything in specific? Please let us know in a comment.
Yeah. And stick with us. We'll keep sharing. Okay. For now, practice that deep breathing, especially, in bed at night as you're falling asleep.
And if you missed that episode, just
go
look
back one,
for
I think.
it's in the title, Deep Breathing Exercise.
Yeah, and see if that doesn't help you fall asleep and stay asleep better. See if it doesn't, over time. This is another thing. Us Americans, we are very quick, right? We want it and we want it right now. So I bought that product, I want it on my doorstep, in 10 minutes kind of thing. I mean, we're very, now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, that the belly breathing or the deep breathing, it is good in the moment and it helps for a moment, but you're going to go back to the way it was. It's not, it's a quick fix in the moment, but it's not a permanent fix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's not a, one and done. You have to keep practicing, you have to dedicate yourself to it, and you just have to keep working at it. But see over some time if it doesn't make some changes for you. But try it tonight. Do some deep breathing, do some belly breathing when you get in bed at night, and see if you don't sleep a little better, and let us know. But
see if you wake up with a little less pain too.
Yeah, because
sometimes it helps me.
Absolutely. I mean,
a relaxed body is relieve tension.
It relieves tension, yes. So belly breathing,
understanding,
and a gentleness with yourself.
Yes.
And
a gentleness with the others around us, because
around you.
There are certain disabilities that, yes, it can be tasking on the other person.
Sure. Absolutely.
And there may be days where they might get a little frustrated, but be understanding this is new to them too. It's new to both of you.
Yeah.
They're not used to doing that. They're not used to using a lift to get you to a tub, and you're not used to needing that. And so you're both at different levels of, oh my God, how do we do this? And it's not that they're frustrated at you. Okay? Keep that in mind too, because I see a lot of people struggle with that. So I think, you got anything else you want to add before we close out, Grace?
Well, that whole, be gentle with each other, that's grace. That's how we extend grace to each other, okay? Knowing that, we're all going to have hard times, and can we love even when maybe the one we're trying to love doesn't feel very loving to us or to themselves. That's grace, okay?
And keep in mind, everyone's built differently too. So what might not affect you strongly might affect another very strongly. So don't necessarily judge them based on how you feel you would feel if it were you, because everyone's body is completely different. But on that note, thank you for joining us for another episode with Siffany's Walk with Grace, and we look forward to seeing you back.
Yeah.